Hi, everyone. Welcome to our video today, where we'll be discussing an important aspect of English grammar, the passive voice. Wilson and I will discuss this topic shortly.
That's right, Miss Green. The passive voice is a fundamental concept in English, and understanding how to use it correctly can greatly enhance our communication skills.
Absolutely, Wayne. So, let's start with the basics. What exactly is the passive voice?
Well, Miss Green, the passive voice is a grammatical construction where the subject of the sentence receives the action rather than performing the action. In other words, the focus is on the object rather than the doer.
That's a great explanation. Can you give us an example?
Of course. Let's take an active sentence like, John built the house. In the passive voice, we would say, the house was built by John.
Ah, I see. So, in the passive voice, the object becomes the subject, and the subject is often placed at the end of the sentence with the help of the auxiliary verb be, followed by the past participle of the main verb.
Exactly. The passive voice is commonly used when the doer of the action is unknown, unimportant, or when we want to shift the focus to the object or emphasize it.
That's interesting. But why do some people consider the passive voice as a problematic construct?
Good question, Miss Green. One reason is that the passive voice can make sentences longer and more complex, which may affect readability. Also, using the passive voice excessively can lead to vagueness or ambiguity in the message.
So, it's important to use the passive voice judiciously, right?
Absolutely. It's all about finding the right balance. The passive voice can be effective when used appropriately, such as in scientific writing, formal contexts, or when we want to be more diplomatic.
That makes sense. So, are there any specific situations where we should consider using the passive voice?
Definitely, Miss Green. We often use the passive voice when we want to emphasize the object or when the doer is irrelevant. For example, the Mona Lisa was painted by Leonardo da Vinci, or the decision was made by the committee.
Ah, I see. The passive voice helps shift the focus to what was done rather than who did it.
Exactly. It allows us to highlight the action itself rather than the person or thing performing the action.
Now, I've heard that sometimes the passive voice can be misused to avoid taking responsibility or to be vague. Is that true?
Yes, that's a common concern. Using the passive voice excessively can sometimes be seen as an attempt to avoid accountability or hide the doer of an action. It's important to use active voice when we want to be clear, direct, and take responsibility for our actions.
So, it's all about striking the right balance and using the appropriate voice based on the context and the desired message.
Precisely, Miss Green. Understanding the nuances of the passive voice and its implications can help us become more effective communicators.
Well said, Wayne. We hope this video has shed some light on the passive voice and its usage in English.
Indeed. Remember, the passive voice is a tool that can add variety and depth to our writing and speaking. Just remember to use it thoughtfully and purposefully.
That brings us to the end of our video. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.